Welcome to Of Sound Mind and Spirit. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Lisa. We're sisters walking together on a journey of faith. We're not perfect.
We definitely don't have all the answers.
We're inviting you to walk with us as we explore ways we can better know and grow in our faith together. Welcome back to another episode from Of Sound Mind and Spirit. Hi, Shelley.
Hey, Lisa.
It is almost my favorite church season.
No kidding. I can't imagine what that might be. I mean, seriously. But oh my gosh, Lisa, are we there already?
Yes, Lent is early this year. So as of this recording, we are not quite there because in 2024, Lent starts on, drumroll, Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day, which is early this year.
But not the earliest that it could ever be.
No. I do feel like we could rush. We're just rushing straight from Christmas, very short, ordinary time, and then into Lent.
I just had my candles blessed for Candlemas like last week, and here we are going into Lent.
So rather than fight it, which part of me wants to, even though I love Lent, part of me wants to like run away. But I know from years and years of experience, it is best to prepare for Lent.
Okay, if you say so. You mean preparing other than just picking out a book that you're going to say you're going to read for Lent and you may or may not actually read for Lent?
Yes. So we're going to prepare and we're going to look to something that I've worked on the last couple of years personally for Lent. And we're going to issue a challenge, a Lenten challenge.
Well, meatless recipes for Friday already exist, just so you know.
Yes, that's not it. So it's a challenge that's contrary to what is trending right now for Catholics and a lot of Christians to do for Lent.
Okay, you're going to have to tell me what is trendy for Catholics to do for Lent.
To give up social media.
Oh, you know what? I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. I do see a lot of that. And suddenly all your friends' Facebook profile pictures just have this great big square on them that say, gone till Easter or something like that.
Exactly. It's becoming a trend for Christians, Catholics, for a lot of faithful people to leave social media leading up to Easter. And our challenge, what we're issuing today, is not to leave social media for Lent.
Okay, so we know that Lent is a time to fast and repent and turn away from anything that keeps our focus not on God, right? Anything that keeps you from not really putting your time and attention towards Him and getting ready for the greatest holiday we have. If people find that social media is taking them away from God, why wouldn't we want them to do that?
Well, I'm going to flip that on its head. And yes, social media many times can take you away from God. It can be a negative, ugly place. It can be addicting, big distraction from being present to your family, to things you need to do. So yes, all of that. So what we're challenging is to flip it and to say, use Lent as a time to share the gospel, to share God's love, to be a Christian on this platform. Don't give it up. Be intentional about how you use it during these 40 days.
So change the way you use it, change the way you see it.
The challenge is, rather than fast from social media this Lent, let's take it over and shine God's love, mercy, and forgiveness on these platforms.
Lisa, I feel like we try to do that every day through the Sound Mind and Spirit account. So what you're saying is maybe others should also be doing that with their personal accounts.
Well, I think it's a little bigger than that, because someone might argue that a lot of our Sound Mind and Spirit posts are we'll say marketing, trying to get people to tune in or listen to what we're doing here. And of course, there's a little bit of that. Yes, obviously. Um, but yes, to go a little further. And you know what might be a really good way to illustrate this is to walk through the pillars of Lent. Lent. Not
Lint,
Lent,
like the
Lent.
lint you pick off.
To one way we could illustrate this is to walk through the three pillars of Lent and give examples and kind of talk about ways to do it that might really help you see what the purpose or how to live this challenge. What do you think?
And that sounds like a great idea. I know that right now a lot of people are talking about preparing for Lent. It seems like it is everywhere. But I hadn't thought about the fact that people will be turning off social media. And it feels like social media is where so many of us communicate these days.
That's really why I like social media. It is a place of community online. I know we talked about this in episode 17, spreading God's love on social media, that it's a tool. It's a tool. It is what you make of it and what you
Mhm.
choose to interact with. And so we might think of it as a negative space or this or that, but it's also a very good place to build community.
Right. I was just thinking that if all of my friends turned off their social media, or if I turned off my social media, which I know I haven't been on it as much as I used to be, and I've done that purposefully, again, to try and save time and be present for my family. But if I did that permanently, I wouldn't, there's a lot of people I would miss. I mean, honestly, that's how I communicate with a, a lot of people that I don't see face to face anymore these days, whether because we've changed baseball teams or because people have moved away or because that's how I got to know them in the first place over the
Mm-hmm.
internet.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that social media and social networks really are part of our society. They're a part of our culture. And so if we're called to be Christians and we're called to evangelize and we're called to spread the good news of Christ, we're called to do it there as well. It's not enough to say I'm going to evangelize in person, that I'm going to write blog posts or I'm going to record podcasts. But we also have to interact where people are interacting. And that is these social networks and social media. So,
I can understand why some people might want to leave social media if it feels like it's taking a lot of intentional time. Like if they're feeling like they have to be present on social media to make these connections and that they find it pulls them away. But I think we're going to talk a little bit today about how you can pull back from and still be present while you're or still represent Christ and Christ's love while you're on social media. Am I right?
correct. Yes.
Okay.
And I am not advocating that if it is really harmful to your mental health or your family life, if you have you worry about an addiction, then I'm not advocating to stay on it right now. That is not it. What we are going
And
to
we're
talk
not
about are
trying
what,
to create more work for you either.
no, no. This is simple things you can do. So you want to just jump into it?
Yeah. Well, first, what are the three pillars of Lent?
The simple way to get started with this Lenten social media challenge is to focus on the three pillars of Lent. And they are, this is a quiz, they're fasting, which means to give up or to abstain from something that is distracting or something you could offer as a sacrifice to remind you of Christ's sacrifice. And the next one is almsgiving, meaning to give to others, whether it's monetary or it's something physical, time, talent, treasure, that kind of thing. And then the third one is prayer, is to spend time getting to know God, growing closer to Christ during this time.
And so we're going to talk about ways that we can interact with each other on social media for Lent that touches each of these three pillars. Do you want me to start? Because I got a good one for fasting.
Okay, go for
It's a dadism, and you're going to love
it.
this. Our Father always always said when we were growing up, and now I'm starting to think he really meant it to both of us, Lisa, when we were talking to each other. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. I can hear him in my head when I say,
I can hear him say that too.
what is it? Dad lives rent free in our heads.
I think everybody has
So,
those the things their parents said to them.
so if you're talking about fasting or abstaining, the first one is to fast from negativity. And yes, I know that means some of us want to rush right out and delete Twitter, which is now called X, from our phones.
I still
But
like Twitter. Sorry.
I know you do. I've been reading it a little bit more these days, but one of the hardest things to do is to stay out of the comment boxes.
Yes.
So fasting here could mean if you're going to maintain a presence on social media, you want to fast from all that negativity. You do not want to engage in any conversation that raises your hackles and gets you all angsty and angry and just that angry typing.
It also could be not to post something that you have an inkling, maybe you think might be controversial or cause someone to respond in negativity. Maybe take that conversation offline. You know all those hot button issues that don't do well just being captured in a TikTok reel. Like it deserves attention and really thoughtful conversation. Maybe don't just post a quick meme or comment that's going to inspire somebody else to be ugly to you.
Mhm.
And if you feel that temptation to be negative or to engage or get the last word, you ever seen that one that says, I can't go to sleep, someone on the internet is wrong? And it's like a person sitting at their computer, you know? You ever seen that meme?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So I just, when that
I think we both
happens,
resemble that meme at times.
oh, for sure. So when that temptation happens, I really just, I don't know, I want to slap my wrist, but I was going to say, maybe say just a quick prayer, like, Jesus, I trust in you, something, and just remove yourself. And then maybe think of something else positive to respond or post instead. I mean, there's 1,000 positive things. I mean, that you
Keep
could post.
scrolling.
Keep scrolling, or post your favorite scripture, or post that prayer that you just said to keep yourself from saying something negative. Right? Just
Right.
post it. Maybe there's like the sunrise, sunset. There's all these other things you can post that are beautiful, rather than respond in a negative way.
Well,
Okay.
and you might also be able to just take that as a sign to go ahead and put it down for the moment or for the day or the afternoon, and go ahead and fast from that channel or fast from
Mm-hmm.
reading something that's making you frustrated, and turn. It could be a reminder to put it down and turn towards God and do something else more positive.
Mm-hmm. I would like to add too, maybe your fast is from the notifications.
Ooh,
So,
I like
one
that.
thing that I have done to help myself not be tempted to constantly check social media all day is I've turned all of my notifications off for social media. So, seriously, if you are connected with me on social media and you think, man, I commented on that or whatever, and she didn't respond right away, that's because I don't have notifications on because it is too tempting for me. So maybe fast from that so that when you choose to click those icons, you're doing so intentionally.
That's a really great idea. So, what's the next pillar of Lent, Lisa? We said almsgiving.
It's almsgiving. So think of that as giving to others. And um, even the smallest interactions that we have with others every day profoundly affect our relationships, productivity, health, longevity. And so think of those small ways that you can positively impact someone else's life or day by interacting with them on social media.
I have a good example for that one, actually. Uh, so my husband and I, we just went and saw The Chosen, all 3 episodes of it. on Friday when it came out. And obviously, when you watch something like that and they say, no, don't post any spoilers, I'm not going to give any spoilers. So I went back to my Facebook group, Catholics Who Love the Chosen, that I like to touch and read on. And they had moved the spoiler conversation to another channel. And I went there and I posted that I thought it was too long. I thought that having 3 episodes at one time was too much, and I found myself exhausted, and I didn't love it as much as I loved the first 2 because I was tired. And this one lady in particular started saying something to me about how could I, she was kind of like saying, "No, you can't feel that way." And I forget how she phrased it, but the only thing I had to say back to her was, I'm so glad that you had a much more positive experience, that it meant that much to you. I hope you have a really blessed afternoon. And she responded back in kindness also. Whether where had it been something else, we might have had the inclination to argue with somebody about why you need to have the same experience I'm having right now. And I recognized from partly the work we've done as sisters, but I recognized immediately that I'm not here to win an argument. I posted how I felt about something and she felt differently. And I just reaffirmed to her that she did have a positive experience.
Hmm.
And then I wished her well. And it worked out beautifully.
That's really interesting example because that happens all the time on social media. People want validation that their experience was good, that they feel heard, they feel valued for their experience. And you took an opportunity when someone disagreed with you to give that to her, to validate her and say have a blessed day and walk away without arguing, which is so unusual, I have to say, in com boxes.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with it. I think I didn't think of it when I posted it, but what you said is really good, that I did. I validated, I guess, her feelings. I hadn't thought of it from that perspective.
Well, something else you can do is to highlight the good work done by somebody else or maybe an organization this Lent. So maybe I'm trying to think like there's a dog rescue service in our area, and they're doing a free spay and neuter thing. And, maybe I go and I share about that so that people can help find them and help support them or adopt animals. And, maybe there's another organization we talked about one of the pro-life organizations before, and the classes that they're doing for women in our area in Houston. And maybe it's sharing the good things that they're doing. So it doesn't always have to be just a scripture verse or quote or something like that, but it could be highlighting positive things that are happening in your community or by your friends or even corporations or organizations.
You mean instead of complaining about all the drivers on our main drag that run the red lights, we start calling out how pleased we were that we stopped at one and nobody rear-ended us or had passed it instead?
I was going to say maybe share that the city fixed the lights so quickly after the terrible traffic jam the other day.
Oh, when the timing was off on all the lights. They were
Right,
short-sighted.
right,
That
right.
was a tricky day, yes.
But basically to turn it into, praise them for responding so quickly rather than complaining about the traffic, just trying to flip it around. Because one of the things you're trying to do is to, really share God's love, mercy, forgiveness to others. And that sometimes can be, you have to really think about the way you say something and how others take it.
Maybe when you see something negative that's happening, instead of focusing on that, your way of giving back is to look for the positive that is around you and comment and promote that instead.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. Kind of like when people go through drive-throughs and they pay for the car behind them. You're giving someone else a compliment, love, all of that so that they can be inspired for their day.
I'm smiling at you because I just did that the other day at the coffee place we go through. I was in
Oh,
the drive-through, and once I paid, the person behind me, the order, like what their amount was, flashed up, and I looked and it was like $6. And I looked down and I'm like, "Is that the guy behind me?" And she said, "Yes." And I'm like, "Here, I'm tapping my card for that one too."
that's
It was the
awesome.
first time I've ever done that.
I love it. And maybe I always say this if you're a funny, witty person, which I'm really
I'm
not.
not.
Um, maybe you share something that made you smile. Maybe you share something that made you laugh. And if you have nothing else, let's go back to our glamour shots from the early 90s, the big hair and the sequins, post something that just makes everyone else kind of chuckle and, enjoy their day a little bit more. Because who doesn't love to laugh at big 90s hair and makeup and glamour shots? You have nothing to say. You're so embarrassed right now, aren't you?
Dying.
Because that means I'm going to post a glamour shot.
Yes, yes, I know that means you're going to post the glamour
I don't
shot.
think I've shared the bedazzled denim one yet, so I'm going to save that for a particularly heinous day when I need something positive.
Lisa, it's not Lent yet. I'm just going to remind you that in those pictures, we are younger than our oldest children now.
I think you're right. I
I
think I
know
was
I'm
like 19. Yeah.
right. Well,
Well,
just saying.
gosh, that's good. We looked good. All right. Do you want to move on to our third pillar
Yes,
of
I,
Lent?
I think we should. I think we need lots of prayer.
I
in
do you
our
think people
life,
got the
right?
idea of how to be positive? Okay. Okay, so the third pillar of Lent is prayer. And I feel like this one should be an obvious one, but it's not necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that I try to do, and this is a good one, if you decide that you are giving up social media, that you're like, no, Shelly and Lisa, I just can't. I have to give it up. So here's how you can do your Lenten challenge while giving up social media, which I'm not advocating, but if you need to, pray for everyone on your list. So pray for your Facebook friends, pray for your Instagram friends, Twitter, wherever you are. Just actually pray for them. And that doesn't involve going on social media at all. If you are still on social media and you're doing this social media challenge for Lent, then maybe post a prayer. Maybe when someone says something that you can kind of tell they're having a rough day or a rough moment, either share with them publicly on their comment and say that you're praying for them, or send them a private message. Send them a DM and say, I'm really sorry to hear that. Sounds like you're having a rough day or whatever. Please know that I will be praying for you at adoration or at mass or right now or, whatever. Let them know that you are including them and their intentions in your prayers.
That's a beautiful idea. I'm not sure if we've talked on the podcast yet about praying an intentional rosary. And that's something that I picked up from Gus Lloyd. He has a Catholic channel show called Seize the Day. And I forget when he started doing it, but I love the idea of praying on each bead of a rosary for somebody specific. Um, I know we've done the Facebook things where they say, copy and paste this, and for every line, type at, and the first person that comes up is this and that. But you could do that by starting a prayer chain. Today I am praying for, and then type the at and first 10 people. And then you sit there and either pray for them individually or pray a Hail Mary for them, kind of like a small decade of the rosary.
I really love that because during the COVID shutdowns and stuff, there were a lot of people that would post a picture of your child every day without a comment, but post, just post a picture. Or like I have a senior in high school right now. So everyone's like Senior Sunday and just post a picture of your senior. So what if you posted a picture or something of a person or a place or a thing or whatever that you're praying for? So
Mhm.
maybe that's your challenge is you highlight a different person in your life every day. And that's the person that you're praying for.
It's a great idea too.
And you invite others to do it also. I mean, think about how nicely that might spread and others to see that Christians not only talk about praying and talk about being good Christians, but are putting it out there and living it.
Yes. So my first thought was, okay, Lisa, create a graphic and we'll start putting that. And then my second thought was um, that most of the people I interact with on social media know about my faith and I know about their faith, but not everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a really good idea to live out loud. Um,
And I'm going to say, don't create the graphic. Don't create extra work for yourself. Just post the picture and just say at the, in the comment description and just say like, I'm praying for this person today. I'm praying for this today. And just leave it at that. Make it simple. Because then you're more likely to do it. Or that maybe that's just me.
It might be just you because I'd spend a lot of time worrying about what picture to pick, or do I want to share a picture of a person, or, are they?
Oh, here you go. So do one of those where like the 10th from the end picture on your camera roll, post that. Just come up with a silly way to make yourself do it without overthinking.
Okay.
And then just run with it. What we've just walked through the 3 pillars of Lent and how we believe you can engage in this Lenten social media challenge in each pillar. So, just to summarize, we're encouraging you to take this Lenten social media challenge and post frequently and regularly something that shines the light of God's love, mercy, and forgiveness on the social media channels that you participate in. Fill your social media feed with goodness and lift and encourage other people up throughout the Lenten season.
And we're going to help you with this. We're not going to just leave you hanging. So sign up for our email list and you'll get our weekly emails, and those will provide you with some encouragement throughout the Lenten season and continuing into beyond the Lenten season. And then if you do decide to fast from social media for Lent and you don't get to see the things we're posting on social, you'll still remain connected with us throughout the entire season.
Mm-hmm. And in those emails, we'll have a little bit special for Lent and give examples, encouragement. So hopefully there'll be a few things they'll be quick and easy for you to post rather than having to think through it each week.
Good. That's especially helpful for someone like me who does not feel very creative on social media at all most days.
We're trying to make it easy because simple sometimes gets it done, right?
I like that. Simple gets it done.
Simple gets it done. I wish I could make that rhyme. I'll put that on. You usually make things rhyme, so I'll let you do that. Or make it an alliteration or something cutesy. There we go. And remember, even during Lent, if you're away from social media or even if you're not, we have a new podcast every Thursday.
In addition to the email list, if you're going to be fasting and you still want to know about the podcast, be sure to hit like and subscribe. And that way you'll continue to have it dropped right into your Apple podcasts or your Spotify podcast list or wherever you're listening to us so that you don't miss an episode.
We will be talking next week about what are we doing outside of social media, but what else are we doing for Lent? And we're going to hear from a few of our... And we're going to hear...
It's going to be time for a Lenten check-in.
We're going to do a Lenten check-in, you're right. And we're going to hear from a few of our friends and how they're experiencing Lent this year. So I think we haven't recorded it yet, but I think it's going to be a good episode. Spoiler alert. All right, guys,
Oh,
instead of fasting from social media, let's bring the light, the joy, and the hope to others on social media this year.
that's right. So let's flood it with God's love, mercy, and goodness.
Thank you so much for being here. Go to our website, soundmindandspirit.com. Sign up for our email list there, and we will see you throughout Lent, hopefully online.
Bye, everyone.